We're going to look at the multidimensional matrix now. The multidimensional matrix is a little different than the multidimensional grid. There's a video for the grid as well, but the matrix is slightly different. So we're going to go here, and here we have again 4 levels like the grid, but this is different because they are horizontal and vertical. So we get 2 horizontal and 2 vertical, up to basically. You can choose 1 and 2, 2 and 1, or 2 and 2. We're going to go ahead and pick 2 for horizontal, 2 for vertical. Let's pick case outcome. Let's see, patient sex, sure. Patient age group. And finally, I'm going to pick product brand name. And I'm going to generate. So here, this is the matrix. So it is, unlike the grid, which really has 1 dimension here, this is like 2-dimensional, and basically you see the cross section, so you know that case outcome fatal if there's a lot of zeros here, as you can see. But unlike the grid, you cannot suppress zeros here, and the reason for that is because this matrix needs to be balanced, so you can't just remove a cell. So all cells are important. But if you look at case outcome, you say, okay, not recovered. Within that case outcome, for the females, for this product, it's 44. And so on and so forth until it gives you a total. So basically, if you look at all the totals horizontally and all the totals vertically, they all add up to 5,000 because we have 5,000 cases. So basically, this is what the matrix looks like, and kind of how it differs from the grid. The other thing is, let's export it to Excel. So we go to the data panel and we'll export this to Excel. Let's open it up. So this is our matrix, and it looks pretty much like what we saw on the web page. Now the other thing we can do is, if you look at the products, you'll see that the products are multiple combinations too. These are 3 products, for example, and this is 2 products. So you know, a case can have multiple products, multiple reactions, multiple indications, and so because of that, they're listed this way. But this, what if you only want to see products and read or look at their instances, like how many times is a product, how many instances of a product are listed? We can do that. We can go into the configuration panel, and if we go at the bottom here, there is an option here that says treat each combination as a record, and it is selected by default. If I unselect it, and if I say okay, generate, now we will see that first of all, this is in blue, so it tells me right away that this is instances and not cases, and it tells you to the numbers in blue denote instances. And now I see the number change from 5,000 to 5,372, and makes sense. I expect it to go up because a given case can have multiple products listed. So when we sort of disassociate these 2 products and count them for each, it will count for that case. We're counting twice, once for product A, once for product B, and so. But that's okay, as long as we know what these numbers mean. Now, the other thing we can do is, while we're looking at it, so patient group, for example, there's, I believe, 5 patient groups. So let's say we're only interested in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we're only interested in the top 2. So I can go here and I can say, okay, you know what? For the patient group, I only want the top 2. There we go, and I'm going to generate it again. So then what it does is, okay, so the adult and elderly are the top 2, and then the other 3, basically, it just lumps them together, aggregates them into other, and it lists them this way. Now there's a lock here, and this is meaningless here because there just isn't enough data for this to be able to scroll, or this to need to scroll. So let's change the horizontal level 2 to, let's see, reaction medra PT. Now we're going to generate it, and what will happen is, because The Medra PT, there's combinations of those, and they're large enough as it is. We should see more. So, for example, here, oh, and this we have picked instances, right? So even with Medra, if, for example, in the case capillary fragility and muscle spasm are listed together, here they're split out because we're looking at instances. And I think, given the fact that products have instances and reactions have instances, we should see a larger number here. Yeah, 5532 makes sense. Now this is unlocked. So what happens is when I scroll down, we keep the headers. But when I scroll to the side, we lose the context of the column here as to what this was. So if I come back here, I want to keep these two columns. So I'm going to lock it again. And now if I want to scroll, I get to keep these two columns as my context. Other than that, here we talked about exporting to Excel. There's a confirmation report that I'm not going to recommend, only because given the number of cases, it's going to be slow on the demo, because the demo is running strictly on the client and not on a server. On a server, it's very fast. There's another video you can watch on how to save and publish reports, and that has all the details. Export to ToroViewer has been disabled. ToroViewer is basically, for example, we just exported to Excel, and you can send the Excel to a client or another stakeholder, and they can see what the data looks like. The other thing you can do is export to ToroViewer and send the ToroViewer file to them. And what that does is allows them to see it the same way you're seeing it. They can't change, for example, they can't change the kind of chart, but for the chart you created, they can see it, and they can also do some analysis and see whether they want to see instance or whether they want to see cases. They can't filter. If you filtered something, they can't unfilter it because you've limited the amount of data that is going over. They can further limit it if they choose and filter, but they certainly cannot unfilter something. You decide on the scope of the data basically, and that does it for multi-dimensional matrix. Thank you.